Hey, it's Eryn. I don't know if I told you, but no one really has it all figured out.
Hey, I don't knowers, and welcome to IDK If I Told You. Today, I'm chatting with my best friend Dev to spill all the tea about finding balance. Because whether you are a student, a full time worker, or just trying to do it all, burnout is real. So let's get real. Hi, Dev. I'm so excited. So, we're going to explain how we became friends because this ties into what this episode is going to be talking about with burnout and balancing a social life, but also making sure you're putting your priorities at the forefront too. So would you like to explain how we became friends?
I will try my best because it is a complicated story. Me and Eryn actually had the same math class in 7th grade.
We did?
We did, girl. Like, I don't remember that. 7th grade was a very long time ago. And that's how I remember you. And then we both went to the same community college.
Yeah.
And we took a creative writing class together. And I kind of slid into Erin's DMs when I stalked the class list. And I was like, wait a minute. That name sounds so familiar. So I said, hey, girl, I think we're in the same class. And the rest is history.
That's so true. I don't remember the 7th grade math class thing, but besides the point, we did have a creative writing class together when we were at community college together. Like I touched on in the last episode, I was at a community college and that's where we met. And normally I go to the class and there's a section on there where it details who is in your class. You can see if anybody. And I always do because you never know, right? And this was a online asynchronous class, meaning you did not meet in person at all. You don't meet over a video chat or nothing. It was just strictly online. And I also wanted to see if I knew anybody. So if I had any questions, I could reach out to somebody. So I looked and I'm like, I don't recognize anybody. I have no idea who any of these people are. And then all of a sudden I got a text message in my direct messages on Instagram from her. And yeah, the rest is history. It's actually crazy to think about. That was so long ago. That was like
3-4
almost
years ago?
like no. Oh, I think it was like 2.
2 years ago?
Yeah, it was like 2 years ago, which is insane. But going off of that and our community college experiences, because she's still in community college. And yeah, so I'd like to ask you, what is your schedule like? What kind of classes are you taking? Are they asynchronous, which means, again, fully online? Are they hybrid, where you go in person and then also meet virtually? What does it look like? How many credit hours are you taking?
Okay, so to start with credit hours, I am at a full course, which is 15 credit hours. The classes I take are asynchronous, fully online, and I do take one hybrid class that's a night class. And the reason why I'm still in community college is because I flip-flopped my semesters. So I worked a semester and then I would do school a semester, and I kept doing that.
When I was at community college, I also took 15 credit hours. I'm doing that now anyways, even at the university level. And when I was at community college, I had I had two part-time jobs, and then I was also babysitting at the time as well. But I would babysit once a week, and then I would do my 2 part-time jobs once a week. So it wasn't as crazy, but that was my entire social life. I was not getting out, and it was not a fun time because I really wanted to put my grades on the top pedestal. That was my main priority, and I was really trying to rebuild myself and my academics because, like I mentioned in the last episode, I struggled in high school and I really wanted to do better in college and enjoy what I was learning too. It did pay off. It really did pay off, which I'm very, very thankful for. But it does come with the price that I didn't have a social life. And It was really hard for me. And because I put my studies at the forefront, I experienced so much burnout in college. It was ridiculous how much burnout I was experiencing. Did you experience burnout? What's your social life like? Do you go out with friends? Do you have friends at community college? Have you made any friends in any of your classes? Give us the whole picture.
All right, so I do feel like community college is a very lonely place. This semester, I have not made any new friends. Basically, I go to class and I go home. And there's not really much else to do because there's not very good clubs. No offense, community college, but you do not offer the best of clubs. I feel like my social life is pretty boring. I don't really go out much, and when I do, it's with my parents or my older brother. I do think I made some friends throughout my experience at community college, but it's mostly like friends that I made through assignments, friends that I was kind of forced to work with, and not really friends that I chose to pursue. Which, like, it's not a bad thing when professors help you to make friends, but it's not the same when you can decide your friendships in a way. I feel like my social life so far has been very lonely and it sucks.
Yeah. That's also how I felt at the community college level. When I was at community college, my parents would always encourage me to just walk up to a random stranger and to say hi and introduce myself. And it was not humanly possible because everybody had in their headphones, their earbuds, AirPods, you name it. People had a strict destination. They wanted to go to class. That was their A. And then their B was to go back to their car or their transportation and go home. I really didn't make that many friends in community college either. I didn't do any clubs. The only thing I did do, which I was encouraged to do it by our creative writing professor, was to publish a piece of literature in the literary magazine. And it did very well. I won second place for that competition, which, yeah, not to toot my own horn. But that's the only thing that I did in community college, and it really sucked. And it was a very lonely time because I also didn't have a social life. I was just going back and forth from school to home and then to my jobs that were a once a week thing.
I also feel like having no social life or very little social life can lead to burnout. I feel like social life is such an important thing, and community college doesn't really offer that. So, what's your experience like here at a university?
I will say when I transferred here last year, my social life was fairly great. And that was my main goal when coming to a university, was to put myself out there. Because when I was, again, at community college, I didn't have that. Also in high school, I didn't have that. So I really wanted to put that at the forefront because having a social life, networking, making new friends and hobbies is so important, and it's a big part of your development in your early adult life. It is so important because it really shapes how you communicate with people. It just forms your personality, your mannerisms. And my first year here, it was really great. I always getting involved on campus. I was going to all of the school events that they were having. I was going out with friends that I made. It was a really great time. It really was. This year, I will say it's a little lonely, but I think it's also because I am a senior and I have different goals than I did coming here last year. And I've really changed my perspective on what I want the takeaway to be from college. I really want to make sure that I am successful in my grades and talking to people. And I've been networking a lot. And I have been saying yes to opportunities. Last year I did. I did consider joining a club this year. I was going to, and it just didn't fit in my schedule, and I really wanted to. But I do encourage everybody to put themselves out there and network. Go to clubs, go to the social events that they have on campus if your campus does that.
I think that's great.
I think we should transition to the burnout section because, for me, anyways, burnout has been a part of my life for so long. I experienced burnout my entire life. You can experience burnout in any stage of your life. You don't have to be a college student like we are. You don't have to be a young adult like us. You can be working a full-time job. You could be balancing school and working like we both did. You can be a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home dad. And the list can go on and on. But I do just really want to put it at the forefront that, it doesn't just happen to us. It is so hard. And I want to talk about my most recent experience with burnout. Maybe someone else out there can relate to it, and then I'll pass the mic off to Dev. But the signs for me when I experienced burnout the last time, I experienced it in January of 2025 of this year, and I was just so tired. I just did not want to do anything. I didn't want to do the things that I loved, hanging out with friends, doing my homework. I was just so exhausted. It was just like a chore to do my everyday activities. And on top of that, I was living alone without my parents. So I had to also make sure that I was taking care of me too. That was also getting hard. My friends at the time noticed it. They were like, "Are you okay?" And I thought spring break was going to solve all of my problems. But unfortunately, that was not the case. I was just really tired. It affected my motivation and enjoyment to do things. I just felt like I wanted to give up. And that's not good. You need to be prioritizing your mental health. There are resources that you can go to that will help you.
I think I had very similar symptoms with burnout. I was exhausted, not motivated. Yeah, it really does suck because you do feel like everything you do is a chore, like getting out of bed, that's a chore. When it really should not feel like that. You should be happy to live a day as a young adult in your prime.
Right.
I'll say that with
Yeah.
emphasis, as my host here says. But yeah, so how do you get out of burnout?
For me, I kind of just got out of it just recently. I feel like what has helped me is taking a step back and looking at myself in the mirror and just saying no. And I know in the last episode, I really strongly encouraged to say yes to opportunities, but also it's okay to say no without feeling guilty. It is okay to say no because you know you best and you need to take care of you first. And that's mainly what helped me get out of it. It just was like a flip of a switch in my brain where I'm like, I just can't function anymore. This is just getting really exhausting. And life is already hard as it is. I don't want to make it harder than it should be? So I was just like, I gotta take care of me. And what I did was I joined Zumba classes at my local rec center. I started writing again. I love writing, getting my thoughts out of my brain to a piece of paper or to a document on a computer. I also removed all social media off of my phone because I don't need to be looking at social media. It can be so harmful to your mental health. It can be so bad. Also, just going on walks, being with nature is so good. It's so good for you. And that fresh air is nice too. So, what did you do?
I love art. I think it is a beautiful way to express yourself. So when I was feeling burnout, I pushed myself as much as I could to just draw something. Even if it wasn't meaningful to me, at least it was something. And it kind of helped me get not the laziness, but like the slug out of me. I also am a huge animal lover, and I feel like animals bring us joy every day.
That's so true.
So I do have 3 cats at home, and just watching them and taking care of them has really helped, especially when you just don't feel like you want to do anything. And also taking a break from schoolwork and having a day to myself, maybe watch my favorite Netflix series or something. That really helped me get the motivation to do my homework the next day, but not continue to push it off.
Yeah, you don't want to push things off, but at the same time, it's okay to take a step back. It's okay to reset. It is totally fine. I feel like there's this stigma around, oh, I just got to keep going. I got to keep going, pushing through the motions, right? And that's just not life. That's just not real. That's not reality. And we're all human. We're not perfect. And it's even hard for me to accept that because I'm such a perfectionist with my schoolwork and making sure that everything is right and everything is good. And that can be so draining. And it's not fun. And so you really have to take a step back, close the laptop, turn off the phone, turn off all electronics, and just do something that makes you happy. If that's with school, with work, with being stressed out at home, anything that brings you that sense of overwhelming fear or just anxiety, just say, I just need a minute. I will come back to it, but right now, I need to focus on me. I need to take a minute. And it's okay. It's okay to take a minute. So yeah, but I think we're going to transition into our question segment. I'm very excited for these questions on this episode. We have some pretty good ones. So the first question I'd like to ask is, how do I balance schoolwork and social life without feeling guilty?
I know it's hard not to feel guilty about doing things you want to do, but also having responsibilities. I think for me personally, I'm also a perfectionist and I love having good grades, but you kind of just have to balance it. Like you have to find a way to balance it. And it's okay to go out and you don't have to feel guilty. Like you just have to keep reminding yourself you don't have to feel guilty for going out and prioritizing your mental health over grades because grades don't define you.
Right. Absolutely. Like you said, grades don't define you. And it's hard when you are a perfectionist and you want to do well. And that's great that you want to do well. But also at the same time, like you said earlier, this is your prime. These are the years that matter most. You're developing. And so just making sure you have that balance and you're managing your time wisely is so important. Getting planners, they're so awesome. Checklists are awesome. There's, again, so many resources to help you balance schoolwork and your social life. I didn't think it was possible, but believe me, if I was able to balance a social life and do well in school, you can 100% do it. How do I handle FOMO, which means fear of missing out, when everyone else seems to be doing so much?
I think this is a great question for all the other community college students out there because, again, you don't really have that many opportunities there than you do at a university. So your FOMO is pretty high. I think you just have to remind yourself that everyone is at a different pace. We're on the same race, we're at a different pace. And just because someone else is at a party or going to a school event, and it doesn't mean that you're behind. It honestly does not mean you're missing out. You may feel like you're missing out, but you still have so much to live for. You have so many more events to happen in your life that when you look back at these years, you're going to be like, oh, well, I really did not need to go to that party.
That is so true because I constantly compare myself to others and where they are on this path of life. And it's really hard. It's really difficult. And it's also really hard when you are burnt out and you're experiencing the fear of missing out because you're like, oh, I need to just get out of this already. And seeing all these people, and it just really brings you down. It's not a good thing. And like you said, everybody's on their own separate path. Do not compare yourself to others, please. I know it's hard, but don't. Next question is, how do I stay motivated if I'm feeling burnt out or overwhelmed?
I think this goes back to what we said earlier with taking breaks. Just take a step back. You're going to be fine. Motivation's not going to come right away. It may take a few days, may take a few weeks. You kind of just have to push yourself to do what you need to get done first, which sucks. But also, it's okay that you're unmotivated. It's okay to feel that way. Again, you just have to continue to push yourself.
It's hard to, push yourself to do it, but you just gotta, look at yourself in the mirror and just be like, I got this. Because at the end of the day, you're going to be the one succeeding. You're going to be the one that has your own back. So why not make that person proud? You got to make yourself proud and you got to live for you, right?
I agree. Totally agree. No notes.
No notes. How do I maintain self-care while juggling a packed schedule?
I think this is where weekends are a huge part of this. If you're like me, I know I like to get assignments done as quick as possible so that I do have free time during the weekend to do self-care. Maybe you're not like me and you wait till the last minute, but either way, I feel like you can find a couple minutes out of your day to do self-care. Maybe that's meditating. Maybe that's doing a little skincare. Maybe just treating yourself to your favorite food. I feel like we can all do that every single day.
Our last question, how do I find joy in what I'm doing if I'm feeling burnt out?
This is a really tricky question because when you're in that mental state, you really think, oh, there's no way out of this. You don't really feel joy. So I think it's really important to go back to your roots. What used to make you happy? Maybe that will spark something again.
Yeah, that's true. Like for me, I just rediscovered my love for dance again. I had lost that for a little while and was just not feeling like doing it. I decided, you know what? This really makes me happy. I love listening to music. I love dancing in my room. It helps me feel joy and it also releases all of that negative energy that is in the air that's surrounding me. You just gotta keep going through the motions, but also do what makes you happy. Honestly, good pick me up is good too. Even making a list. And if I complete this in this set of time that I have set for myself, then I'm gonna go give myself a treat.
I just want to make sure that everyone knows that it is okay to ask for help. You are not alone, even if you feel like you are alone. You matter.
I also think it's important to make sure that balance is about energy management and not just time management because like Dev was just saying, you matter. If it's draining, if you're tired, you go that extra mile to say, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you're disappointed, but I can't. I'm just not feeling it today. And you go and take a nap, or you kick back and watch your favorite TV show, or you just take time for you. And that's something that's really important, especially during burnout. And yeah, breaks are needed. You need to take breaks and it's okay to recharge. But thanks, Deb, for joining me. And thanks for listening to I Don't Know If I Told You. If you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe, leave a comment, or share it with someone who needs it. Because remember, the truth is, no one really has it all figured out. And that's the fun part. Bye, guys. I'll see you in the next episode.